What's up, YouTube? It's Artisan MC, and this week my Sunday binge was on Beyond Skyline. Now, as you know, I recorded these a little bit differently. I did a two-parter. I watched the first movie, recorded my reaction, and now I just finished the second movie. So now I'm giving you my reaction on this, but it's still part of one Sunday binge because I'm binging on Skyline. So just now finished the second movie, and I was a bit more entertained by the second movie. I was. There was a lot of more WTF moments in it. Now, Beyond Skyline came out in 2017, and it was not directed by the same directors as the first one, the Brothers Strauss or Strauss Brothers, however they want to be recognized. They produced this movie, but they did not direct it. Liam O'Connell, I think it was, directed this movie. And in the beginning, I was a little skeptical because it moved a little bit fast, but I understand why it moved faster in this one and appreciated it that it moved faster than the last movie. I've said this before about comic book movies and why comic book movies work better as a trilogy as opposed to most other movies. The first movie is you have to establish the world. First movie is just establishing who the characters are, what the world is like, the rules of this place, and the general story of what's going on. That's what your first movie has to do. And then within all of that, it still has to tell you a story to make you interested at all to watch the second movie. That groundwork was done in Skyline. In Beyond Skyline, they did exactly that. They took the story beyond where it left off in the first one because it picks up right in the first movie. They actually used some of the footage from the first movie in the second movie so you understand the time frame of when this stuff is all happening. And it happens right at the same time. It's another group of people in the same situation in LA at the same time and what they were dealing with while the first movie dealt with those people, those characters in the high-rise apartment building, what they were dealing with. This lead character in this one is Mark, which is played by Frank Grillo, and I like Frank Grillo. Frank Grillo was in the MCU. He was Rumlow in Captain America: Winter Soldier and Crossbones in Avengers: Age of Ultron, I believe it was. And no, it wasn't Age of Ultron because he got killed by the Scarlet Witch. So it's after that. Anyway, Avengers 3. So I've seen this guy and this actor in roles, having speaking roles and acting. He's fine. Okay, I don't mind him at all. And when I first saw the Beyond Skyline movie trailer with him in it, I was like, oh, he's playing the lead. Oh, okay, cool. Now the funny part about Frank Grillo, he was in the news recently because he did a parody of The Punisher and John Bernthal's Punisher. And him and John Bernthal look a lot alike. They do. I mean, Frank Grillo could play the Punisher, but I'm kind of sold on John Bernthal. Sorry, Frank. I mean, your name is Frank too, but look, sorry, you got there before you. You gotta do something else. I'll pick you for some other role that we could use that real grizzled person for. Shit, maybe you can be the Wolverine in the Marvel Universe. I don't know. Either way, Frank Grillo is the lead actor and is playing Mark, who is a kind of drunk LA cop who's been, I guess, suspended or whatever, not working. And the movie opens up with him coming to the police station and doing the let me hide my alcoholism from everybody by washing my mouth out with Listerine in front of the police department. And he's there to pick up his son, Trent, who has gotten into another fight and broken some dude's jaw for some reason. And he's using this police authority to come get him out of jail, right? And in this scene, you also get another one of my favorite Latino actors, which is, I'm forgetting his fucking first name now. What was his name? Jacob Vargas. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. So Jacob Vargas, another one of my favorite Latino actors. Vargas. And Jacob Vargas has been in a bunch of stuff I can't even freaking name. He's done comedy, he's done serious, but if it's in LA, it's Latinos, he's in it, and his homeboy, the bald guy, is in it too. And I think they were both in Training Day. I'm not sure, but either way, he's in it playing his partner Garcia, helps him get his son out of jail. Now, this is where the intercutting of the first movie takes place, where you get to see how this stuff progresses from after Mark picks up his son Trent, and they have to get into the subway because the truck died, and the time frame of when this stuff is happening from the first movie in this movie. So you get the abduction of people in downtown that you only saw in the first movie from a distance. This time, you're right there where these people are getting abducted right out of the streets of LA, which is a good approach for the story because it grounds the story in the first movie, letting you know this is where it happens. You were right here, you're right back where you left off. And I appreciate that. That's a good through line in a story. Now, since things happen the same way, you get a lot more introduction of newer characters and getting an understanding for who they are, what their motivations are for why they're doing what they're doing, and how they want to go into it. Now, the Trent character played by Johnny Weston, he's an all-right character, but he does a lot of dumb shit throughout the movie. Throughout the movie, he's always there trying to be the savior, the white knight, but he always ends up getting messed up. And it didn't bother me so much. I just thought he did dumb shit for wrong reasons. I don't know if he was trying to play up for a piece or what. But by the time it gets to the end of the story, it kind of makes sense because you get him more involved with what's going on. The other addition character that you get introduced to is the transit train driver of Audrey, played by Bojana Novakovic, whatever the hell, I tried her name. I don't like this character. This character was getting on my goddamn nerves from jump because she was bossy and given direction from the jump. And throughout the movie, she's always put in there like she is somewhat a badass, but she's always getting other people hurt or killed. Always. And I didn't like her. I was waiting for her to die, and she lasted throughout the whole movie, and I was kind of disappointed with that shit because I was tired of seeing her. I was irritated with her because through the course of this movie, I'm not believing that the train driver all of a sudden is holding a gun at the end and standing her ground and being a tough ass over the course of less than a week. I'm not buying it. I would have rather seen somebody else live rather than her. Like Jacob Vargas, he could have lived. He was actually trained. That's something. But this chick throughout the movie is giving orders to people, and I don't see why anybody is taking direction from her and why she's giving direction to anybody. She ain't on a train. So beyond that, the story evolves to the point where you get to find out how these aliens work, because in the beginning, it moves you along to get you to the point where you are now inside the alien ship and seeing how these aliens actually work and getting to figure out what's going on. And there's some real interesting stuff going on in this alien ship that I would not have kind of thought of. Now, you kind of got a hint to it in the last movie, in Skyline, and that's what led the breadcrumb for you to want to see it beyond Skyline. In this one, they give you that gusto. They give you the rest of it. They show you what the heck was going on, and it's like, ooh, wow. It's a bit far, but kind of understandable. And you get this character of Mark learning more about these aliens in the upfront and personal kind of way. And you get one of the most touching scenes, in a sense, from this, where you get one of these aliens interacting with him, and the alien is Jared from the last movie. Now, if you saw the last movie, if you saw Skyline, you know how Skyline ended and how Eric Balfour's character, Jared, ended up in that movie. And when you get into this movie, it's paid off because you run into that character again. You run into him and you run into Elaine. Now, they are recast in this movie. They're not the original two actors. Eric Balfour's not in this, and Scotty Thompson is not in this. But I like that they reintroduced those characters because it ties those movies together in a way more so than just the name or anything else. That was kind of deep, and I may have spoiled that for you, but it's enough other stuff in this movie that you'll be kind of like, what the hell in it? So you move on with the story from there, and you get Jared and Elaine showing up, and you get to find out what was happening with Elaine's baby, which you got to watch. I'm not gonna spoil that. You got to watch to see what goes on with all that stuff. But you get this ship going on to Hawaii and abducted peoples, and then heading on to Thailand, Laos to abduct people. And Mark and Audrey and Trent and Sarge, played by Antonio Vargas, which was another what the fuck moment. You got Huggy Bear in this shit? What the fuck is Antonio Vargas doing? Like, what? I haven't seen him since I'm gonna get you sucker. What the hell? There's Fly Guy in this bitch. Right? That was hilarious. And that's what one of the biggest things for this movie was good for me was WTF moments. Like, I couldn't believe the people who were in this movie. And I watched the titles in the beginning. I couldn't believe who was in this movie. There are some other surprises in this movie, but I'll just say this. Y'all know how I like my martial arts action. Iko Uwais is in this movie. And if you don't know who Iko Uwais is, remember that movie, that Indonesian movie that I'm always raving about, The Raid? The dude Ramla from that movie? Yeah, he's in this. Along with the guy, what's his name? Yayan Ruhina? I'm probably butchering his name. I apologize, dude. Don't come looking for me. But the dude who played Mad Dog in the Raid movies, he's in this too. It's like a bunch of people in this that I like watching on film. And when I saw his name in the trailer, I was like, Iko, the hell is he doing in this? How do you get a sci-fi movie and have the martial artists in it? But I shouldn't be surprised because both of them showed up in the Star Wars movies. Force Awakens, they were both in it. So you got people in here I'm waiting to see, but I got so wrapped up in the story that I forgot about them dudes even showing up in this at all. And they did. Now, the story goes on, and I don't want to spoil it because I just finished it and I'm remembering a lot of it, but I don't want to spoil it for you guys. But for me, this was a good addition to that story, and it progressed the story even more than the first movie did, because it lets you in on certain things that were happening with these aliens, why they were fixated on humans, and why they were here to do it. And it is a trope that I call a trope that I'm very curious in. That actually sounds like more of a possibility to me. If aliens were ever to come to Earth, there'd have to be a reason. There ain't shit here for them worth having, except us. And Jupiter ascending, kind of played on that same notion as well, that these aliens are coming for something. And if you've seen that movie, you know where the hell is kind of going with that. And that's interesting to me to see that interplay. But for me, I got a lot of action in this movie. It moved along a lot quicker. It wasn't stuck in one place like the first movie was, but I think that worked for the first movie. Beyond Skyline moved out of the penthouse and was all over the world pretty much, and you had action all through this, which served the point of what the hell was going on. Now, story-wise, I think some things might have moved too fast, for the time frame that they're in. Like this whole resistance group setup, it was set up really quickly. When movie time, maybe it's been a couple of days. That was really quick. But I went with it because in a movie, it's a suspension of disbelief. All this shit's fake. It's all fake. And if I inject too much reality into it, then I'm not watching a sci-fi movie anymore. I'm just living in the real world. And people running around in costumes. The illusion is totally blown for me. But for me, I enjoyed Beyond Skyline. I got, Skylines queued up on Netflix that I'm about to get into. And thankfully, these movies are short. They're not even 2 hours. First one was like an hour 30. The last one's an hour 50 or something like this. Less than 2 hours. So I'm going to go ahead and get on to this third movie, and I'll be done with this before 1 a.m. So hopefully I have this whole review done. And it may not have the graphics you guys want, but maybe if I have enough time, I'll throw some in there. So that's it for my Sunday binge on Beyond Skyline. Check it out. Frank Grillo, Iko Huas, Antonio Vargas, Jacob Vargas, what's her name? Bojana Novakovic. She could have not been in the damn movie. And I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a good Sunday action sci-fi movie. So I will see you guys on the next one.